welcome back to episode 2. Today we'll cover why caloric restriction is doomed to fail, and you'll get some great strategies for befriending your metabolism. I'm Cheryl Gordon, yoga therapist.
And I'm Charlene Stiles, certified holistic nutritionist, life coach, and metabolism mechanic. Here are the answers that no one is talking about because selling you a medication, diet, product, or supplement generates very big recurring profits for these companies. Healing yourself naturally, as we may know, doesn't generate ongoing revenue.
Charlene, I am so excited to show the total daily energy expenditure graphic. For me, it totally made clear why calories in and calories out is just not helpful. So can
Yes.
we share that? Can we
Yeah,
figure out how to share
we're going to figure out how to share it.
that? Girls figuring out tech. Here we go.
Does that look good on your end, Cheryl?
Yeah, I've got it. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
Okay.
So here we are talking about the expenditure of energy. It's a really great, good fundamental concept to understand when it comes to metabolism and weight management. So basically, it's the total amount of energy your body burns in a day, and it's made up of 4 parts. So the BMR, which is the basal metabolic rate or the resting metabolic rate. This is the energy our body just needs to keep us going, keep us alive, keep us breathing, circulating our blood, and even thinking. It makes up the largest chunk of our total daily expenditure, which is about 40%. So I don't know if you can see it in this chart here. That's the very bottom gold part.
Yeah, it's
Making up,
70%, right, Charlene? 70%?
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
about
70.
70%. Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there is the next level, which you can see here spelled out as NEAT, N-E-A-T, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this includes all the little movements that we have in a day that we maybe don't even think about. So this is like fidgeting, walking, going to the kitchen, cleaning your dishes, even moving your hands. This makes up about 15% of the total daily expenditure. And then the next little part there where you see TEF, that is the thermic effect of food. So this is the energy that our body uses to digest and process food. So protein-rich foods actually burn more calories during digestion, and this uses up about 10% of our total daily expenditure of energy.
And that's why you always emphasize protein with us women, because a lot of us struggle to get enough protein. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the many reasons. Yes, but primarily. And then the last part, when you look up at the top, EAT, which is where a majority of us focus our time and attention when we're trying to wrap up our metabolism. So this is our exercise activity thermogenesis. So this makes up about 5% of overall total daily expenditure. Which means like exercise that you're intentionally doing. So from exercise, from yoga, from dance class, etc., is about 5%. And I'll just
Mhm.
mention here, even high athlete, if you're like in athlete shape, this amount is only going to go up to maximum 10%-ish.
Wow. So for most of us, unless we're training for a national team, it's 5%. So putting more time in at the gym, not really the plan.
Not at all. No. In fact, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis can make a much bigger impact than we think. So small daily movements, they truly add up over time, and understanding that our total daily expenditure helps us make smarter choices for sustainable energy balance.
So all those diets that I've been on, believe me, I've tried them all. They calculate my basic metabolic rate plus the calories I'm burning in exercise. It's kind of bogus.
Well, not necessarily bogus entirely, but definitely incomplete. So most diet plans only focus on the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, and workouts, ignoring the non-exercise activity thermogenesis segment that we talked about, the NEAT segment, and also the the thermic effect of food.
So two key pieces of the puzzle, not in most common diets.
Right, exactly. So if we focus only on exercise, we're overlooking 15% of calories burned throughout the day through daily movement. Plus, digestion itself burns calories, especially when we eat protein-rich foods. So the problem is that most diet plans don't factor in how your body uniquely uses energy.
That makes so much sense. So instead of obsessing over gym time, I should be looking at my whole daily energy picture.
Yeah. Sustainable weight management is not just about burning calories in the gym, it's about working with your metabolism all day.
So can we just shout out to the rooftops that all that data on your smart device about calories burned, I think it hurts our progress. I think we get obsessed about these numbers and it's not accurate.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And it can be really distracting from our own mindfulness and our own clues and our own intuition, right?
When I'm teaching yoga, I got to tell you, the smart watches are a beeping and a chirping, and I find it affects my concentration. So I can't imagine how it interferes with the practice for the student. I'm so glad you're clarifying why the obsession with tracking steps or calories is just not necessary. So let's get into the experience of the activity of the moment. Let's be mindful.
Right? And enjoy it rather than being
Yeah.
notified of how you're supposed to feel or how many calories you burned. I agree. We're going to take a deeper dive into why calories in and calories out is just not an effective model in our dedicated four part series course here. So we'll drop the details in the show notes below, but let's just outline here the reasons why exercising to lose weight is just a frustrating endeavor.
I love this topic. You know, Charlene, I still find myself laboring under these outdated beliefs. So, to our listeners, you are definitely not alone. Let's go number one. The body is a super efficient machine. For most of our human existence, starvation was a reality. So, for the first few minutes of any given activity, your body may kick in a little extra energy, but very quickly it adapts and minimizes energy expenditure. It's a survival strategy. So, this phenomenon is not reflected in the calorie counters on your smart device. Number two, even if you did burn, say, 500 calories on the treadmill, because that's what it says, eating one store-bought muffin is going to blow that all away. And number three, at that time, all the time that you're pushing yourself into more and more clicks or calorie burn, it means you're getting pressed for time in other areas. And this creates stress in your life, which inhibits your weight loss. We'll talk more about this in episode 4, but no, none of us women need more stress, that's for sure. And the fourth point that I want to make is long periods of steady state cardio exercise. This is like walking on the treadmill, riding your bike at a steady pace, going for a run, especially if you jog at a pace that you're very familiar with. We can actually start eating our own muscle when we do this. We reduce muscle mass.
And totally not what we want to do just because, we're naturally declining as women, as we talked about in our last episode, after the age of 30, particularly if we're not being active. So losing muscle mass is not where we want to go. We want to actually go in the opposite direction because muscle is really the metabolic engine that keeps our body burning efficiently. But as we hit midlife, things begin to shift. We, as I said, naturally lose muscle mass starting as early as our 30s. We can lose up to 2% per year, and that can just speed up, particularly when we get to our 40s and 50s and beyond. So this lean muscle means, or less muscle means a slower metabolism on top of all of the hormonal changes, which can contribute to this weight gain, less energy, and even a higher risk of injury, I'm sorry. And then there's the hormonal changes. So we have the declining estrogen that happens just with time, and then progesterone declines and even testosterone. So that can make it even harder to maintain muscle and easier for us to store fat. So if you remember our discussion from the last episode, what Cheryl talked about, that muscle skeletal syndrome in the last episode, it's a really big piece of it. And we often tend to move less as time goes on. So life gets busy, our stress levels increase, we might not prioritize movement that we used to. And then if you're getting frustrated because you're not seeing results, that can even contribute to even less movement. So what that means is even less metabolic function and use of calories during the day.
Yeah, it's so easy as the years go by, to just, well, I hurt my ankle, so I can't do as much. And well, I might fall or I might hurt myself. You know what I mean? Like that's why it feels like your metabolism is slowing down.
I agree. The good news is, though, we get to fight back. We can focus on building muscle. We talked about eating protein to support that muscle building, staying active throughout the day, like just getting more movement, not worrying so much about what's happening on the watch, but just like getting up and moving, fueling our body properly. We can do strength training, walking, the protein-rich foods that we can help to counteract all of these changes in our metabolic function to keep us strong.
And just to emphasize, it's a combination of prioritizing muscle building and fitness, focusing on protein in each meal, and investing in meaningful self-care that shifts the needle. It is not cutting out food groups, starving yourself, or doing killer workouts.
Yes. And there's no quick fixes. Like it's all about making these small sustainable shifts that work with the body. And so let's look at this again. I'll share the graphic again to set, sorry, I stopped sharing so that we could see each other.
We can talk. Yeah, I know. But it's so nice to see the graphic again, though, because I don't know, some people are visual learners. I
Yeah.
know I am, and it helps to set it in my brain better when I can see
So
it.
hopefully everybody can see that again. So
I think so. Yeah, that looks
yeah.
good.
Okay. So to naturally reset the metabolism, we're going to focus on these three areas. Move more, prioritize strength training and increase daily movement, that non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So where you're not intentionally working out, you're just moving your body more. And this is going to help preserve muscle and keep our metabolism active.
So
And then
just to get in here, Charlene, this NEAT is so easy to up because I remember when I heard about this, I stopped sitting to teach yoga. I started walking around the room more.
interesting.
No big deal. But all of a
Right.
sudden I'm upping that neat number and it was just so easy to do. Or, like just when you're watching TV, nobody has commercials anymore, but maybe you set a little alarm or just get up every 15 minutes and just move around, walk around the room or do a couple squats. But just that little tiny bit makes such a difference, right?
Agreed. Like this is
Yeah.
a little bit sideline, but we live in boxes, right? We live in a box house, in a box environment. We are attached to boxes with our screens, our devices, and not getting our body actually moving, which is very detrimental for all of us. The other thing that we need to add on here is to, fuel ourselves intelligently. So eating protein at every meal, that's going to help support the muscle maintenance and also boost the thermic effect of food. Our body's going to need more energy to break down protein than it does carbohydrates.
So let's just dive in. I remember you sent out an email a while ago and you said the idea of having peanut butter on toast and a little yogurt cup, that's not breakfast. That's not enough protein at breakfast.
Right,
And it's too much sugar.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, really looking at fueling your body with protein, quality protein. Yeah.
Yeah. And just a little side note, like peanuts, even though it has the word nut in it, is not a nut. It's actually a legume. So
Hmm.
anyhow, if you want
I
to
love peanut butter, but
want to check out what the macronutrient component of a peanut is, there's not a lot of protein in it. Anyhow,
yeah.
yes. So I think we're then talking about the next concept of being able to rest and repair, right? So that we can recover well. This is coming back to this idea, and I don't know that we can talk about this enough, but stress management, the quality sleep, the self-care, that's all going to help us regulate hormones that all impact our metabolism. So when we put all of this together, our body starts working for us instead of against us.
And I still find myself a little panicky, as I said last episode, that I didn't get enough mileage in whatever activity I'm doing, I've one key point to me losing weight was learning how to rest throughout the day. I always thought if you took a nap, you were lazy. And so when I put my feet up for a few minutes in the middle of the day, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to gain so much weight. I'm being so lazy. But you know what? I look at my scale, I got a big grin on my face, and I know that this is the secret sauce.
Yes. The conditioning, right? Like
Mhm.
we've been fed this story for decades and we've taken it as truth, but now we know better and we can do better. So, if you found this helpful, please share it with other women who you think can benefit from it. And if you want more resources, check out our websites. Mine is purenaturalhealth.ca and Cheryl's is cherylgordonyt.com. And please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Drop a comment below, ask us your questions, or tell us how this new perspective may be shifting your approach to exercise and nutrition. We'd really love to hear from you.
And so we will see you next week, next episode, for an essential discussion about hormones, especially the one hormone that holds fat more than any other. Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.